And hey guys, welcome to Deeper Than Most. I'm your host DJ.
And I'm your host Sav.
We are back with episode 7. Interesting enough, episode 7, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting up there.
I know, slowly but surely, but we are almost to double digits, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to be jumping into Norse mythology. We're doing another myth mashup. So this is the second installment to the Myth Mashup Series.
Number 2.
Yeah, the first one was Greek mythology, and then we did a poll on our Instagram on which one you guys wanted to see next between Celtic mythology or Norse, and you guys voted for Norse first, so
Here we
that's
are.
what we got today.
Yup.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's gonna be
Norse
really
mythology
fun.
it's an interesting one because they're not like the Greek gods at all.
Oh yeah, it's super different, and the stories are a lot different as well. There are a couple of similarities, but then again, like all of the origins have certain similarities, so yeah. But we have some different types of stories today, and we have four, I was gonna say Greek. We have 4 Norse mythology gods and goddesses that we're going to be covering today. We have 2 goddesses and 2 gods. So, yeah.
It'll be fun.
And before we go ahead and jump into the main topic for today, we want to go ahead and get into our intro topics, our current events.
Yeah.
We have 3 today. So the first one is long overdue, but I feel like it's very important information and that we should still be aware and kind of understand where everything is going on with this case.
Mm-hmm.
Although we never covered this case or anything before or even talked about it before, we still want to take the time to bring it up and kind of bring up the aftermath of this case. It's a wide known case. Practically everybody knows about it, and yeah, it's really, I don't know. It would be, I don't want to say it would be pointless for us to do a video covering the case just because everybody knows about it.
It just wouldn't
It's just, I don't find it necessary in order
it's
for
not
me to
necessary.
get this information across. So
Right.
this is kind of what everybody has been waiting for the past 10 months. So this is the background and the trial for George Floyd. This is the background on the trial pertaining to the death of George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the update, and they recently just went to trial over the case because they were also trying to charge Derek Chauvin. Is that how you say it?
It's Chauvin.
With another charge.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, they're adding another charge to his case. So, new video surveillance and body cam footage was shown in court early last week. Minutes before the murder, George was seen chatting and laughing with customers. He was also seen dancing and being animated before buying cigarettes with the counterfeit $20 bill.
Which I think is important to note that, like, not every bill you come across is, it may not be real because sometimes people do have some that do slip by and it just happens. So
if I had one, I'm not even too sure if I would realize that, it was a counterfeit bill. I mean,
there are certain ways.
Sometimes you can tell,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't examine every single
Right. You don't
piece of
disemamine-
money that I
Yeah,
get,
Nobody does that,
Yeah, so the cashier, by the name Christopher Martin, stated that Floyd appeared high during their interaction the day of George Floyd's death. The store manager ordered another employee that was currently on shift to call the police when George refused to come back into the store for the counterfeit money. So Christopher Martin had expressed to his manager, like, hey, I have to bring this to your attention that, this guy did pay with counterfeit money. And although the interaction went well and he was nice, like,
the money's still fake.
Yes, the money was fake, but also when I tried to coerce him to come back into the store to resolve the issue, he and the person that he was with refused.
Right. Which is a normal routine thing to do. Like,
Yes. Yeah, I guess. It depends on where you're working. I've never had to do that. we'll just refuse it. And he said it could have been avoided if he would have just refused the money as a whole. The cops then arrived to the scene, and Martin said he felt disbelief and guilt once things started to go south, which understandably so. Like,
it didn't have to get to that point.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he didn't think that it would get to that point.
He was just like,
when he initially brought it up to his manager.
Right.
Like, he didn't even make the call. So the fact that, like, him just bringing it to his manager's attention brought it to this, and it escalated the situation so much, he was kind of just, like, taken aback. Floyd's murderer, which was one of the officers that arrived on scene by the name Derek Chauvin, said he was a sizable guy, probably on drugs. And he had stated that to a nearby witness, which was an elderly man. And when they were playing the video clips in court, the elderly man that was a witness to the crime, he started breaking down into tears and crying, saying that, he felt kind of useless. Like, he couldn't do much,
Right.
Like, he just kept telling George Floyd during the interaction, like, just get in the car, man, just get in the car. Like, just listen to what they're saying. Like, that's all you can do, even though we all know that no matter if you're complying or not, it doesn't matter.
Automatically mean that you're going to, have a good experience.
Exactly. So another witness by the name Donald Williams II was mixed martial arts trained, and he had stated that Chauvin had used a dangerous technique on Mr. Floyd called a blood choke, moving his knee back and forth on Floyd's neck, increasing pressure until death, which is what led to his death, is the fact that this was an actual, like, technique.
Right.
And I don't believe, I didn't come across any information stating if Derek Chauvin knew that this was a technique. Right. I have a feeling that he did, though. I
mean, they usually train, like, officers are
they have
trained.
basic.
They have to,
they have the basic training, but I'm sure just, like, even just being a guy, like, and who's to say what his background is like, he probably has done mixed martial arts training before and would be aware of what he was doing.
Exactly.
On March 29th, 2021, 10 months later, Chauvin was charged with second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. So, he was initially charged with second and third-degree murder, but they added on the second-degree manslaughter charge during this trial.
Okay.
Defense tried to claim that Floyd's death was due to underlying health issues and fentanyl, because fentanyl was the drug that they believed Mr. Floyd was on at the time of his death. And apparently he did have underlying health issues. I'm unaware of what they are.
Right.
But that's basically the claim that defense tried to make, is that was what caused him to pass away. During this whole tobacco
video,
exactly. Instead of Chauvin's knee and body weight on George's neck for just shy of 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, that's a grown man on somebody's neck for 10
and
minutes.
On top of that, like, your weight plus your knee,
and plus, like, the gravity,
but
like,
also
pulling you down, like,
well, also all the gear and the shit that they have on. Like, my father was a cop growing up, and he would fucking bulk up and put on all these layers, would be getting ready for like 30 minutes, just putting on his uniform, like bulletproof vest, and that shit's heavy alone.
And the belt itself is
belt is very heavy, the flashlights, the batons, everything's heavy. So, yeah, that's a lot of freaking weight. Chauvin decided not to take his plea. He originally did, but him and his lawyers kind of chatted it out after, and they just changed their mind, and he decided not to go with the plea. So he ended up pleading not guilty, putting him in prison for a minimum of 10 years. So I'm not sure how long he's actually set to serve for, but given with all of his charges and him pleading not guilty, he has a minimum of 10 years he needs to serve. The remaining officers from that horrific day won't stand trial until sometime in August. So the leftover officers that were at the scene that did nothing to aid Mr. Floyd and to help in this situation, that kind of just idly stood by, they are stood by. They won't stand trial until August. So.
Well, at least they're still going to trial because
Yes.
a lot of times in cases like these, they don't even get that far.
Exactly.
So, in other news, we have New Zealand and paid leave and miscarriages. This one's pretty interesting. So, New Zealand is the second country in the world to offer paid leave for miscarriages. There's a law that grants mothers and their partners the right to paid leave following a miscarriage or stillbirth, given they get like 3 days leave. That's pretty cool. Does not tap into sick leave, and the bill was initiated by Labour Party MP Jenny Anderson.
I don't know who that is, but
I don't know. But congratulations, Jenny, because like that's great.
it is, yeah, doing big things.
That is amazing.
A woman doing big things.
Right, that's amazing.
Doesn't matter where it is in the world, like a woman doing big things is always a win for all women. Like,
yeah. The new bill also includes surrogacy and adoption,
which is awesome. Can we just take a moment though? Like, that's really awesome that they include that, because you can't I don't know. I feel like you can't talk about like miscarriages or children in general without including surrogate children and most importantly, adopted or foster children.
Right.
They're just as important as any other child.
Yeah.
So the fact that it includes surrogacy and adoption, like, I really do love that. That's awesome.
According to studies, 1 in 4 New Zealand women have had a miscarriage, and that's a pretty interesting fact. It's
pretty high.
Yeah. India was the first country to propose a similar legislation, but New Zealand was the first country in the world to give voting rights to women and has been a pioneer for women's rights ever since.
New Zealand,
we see you.
Out here doing big things.
We see you, New Zealand. We see you.
Just as good as freaking Finland.
Yeah, it's also another one of those
just
countries
doing
that
things
high
the
on
right
that
way.
Happiness list.
Yeah.
I think it's like number 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is high up there. And it's beautiful too, New Zealand.
Yes, very.
Super beautiful. Anything outside of the U.S., like you were saying earlier, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And not saying that the U.S. is lackluster, but damn, the world has a lot to offer.
There's a lot of beautiful places out there. And the crazy thing is, like, there's so many different countries that we still have some that we don't even know about or know the names of. And they're just out there.
Just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last intro topic that we have for today is Olympics for the win. And I'm so excited to talk about this. It's a very short, brief topic, but it's a statement and it does what it has to do. So March 31st, on Tuesday, the U.S. Olympic/Paralympic Committee will now allow athletes to kneel during the national anthem and raise their fist at Olympic trials.
You know what's weird about this? It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing, but it shouldn't have to, like, that shouldn't be such a
huge thing.
Yeah.
I know, but the fact that it's a step in the right direction. I feel like just because there's been so much controversy behind people taking a stand, like, within sports, professional sports, it's just such a big deal. I feel like this is a really good step in the right direction, because the fact that the NFL was, like, punishing people for doing this same exact thing, it kind of shows you it shows you the type of corporation that the NFL is built on. And the fact that the Olympics is actually taking a stand and going in the other direction, like, says a lot about the Olympics as a whole. Exactly. Like, it just says a lot, you know? And
personally, I don't, like, follow the Olympics.
I don't either, but like,
this is
cool
great.
shit. A lot of people watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
And
so that's nice to see that, you can just do what you feel like. If you want to stand up, that's fine. If you want to kneel,
well, yes, it's still expanding our personal freedoms.
Yeah.
And it's almost like freedom of speech, but without words. you know?
Expression.
Because you're still freedom of expression, yes, because you're still making a statement without having to use words.
Mm-hmm.
So a 9-page document mentioned how racial and social demonstrations would not be punished or undermined by the US OPC, which is just once again, like, awesome. It's just really good to know that they kind of stand with us. They're not.
It's just nice to know that there's somebody out there that understands why people do.
Why it's so
kneel,
important.
Why
it's not a threat or a big deal. Like,
exactly.
it's people voicing how they feel.
Right.
And expressing that. And expressing and shedding light on the injustices that we have here in America. Because there's too many to name. Just, like, there's just too much
many.
towards and I don't even want to get into it, but literally
so much going on.
Yeah,
so
literally
much going
every
on.
minority, or even, well, honestly, yes, every minority has microaggressions here in America, and it's impossible to run from and to hide from. So the fact that, we're starting to see more, even with the Stop Asian Hate, like, we're starting to see more of people giving a damn.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful, thing, dude. It's kind of like, I don't know, we're not old enough
and
to
it's
remember.
like everybody's coming together to shed light on the people that run it all. Like, the people, the head honchos, like, we see that shit,
It's funny because we're not
and
old
we're
enough
sick
to
of
remember, but, like, this is our 60s in a sense. Like, this whole decade could be that for us.
It could be. So it also won't impact an athlete's participation in the Olympic and Paralympic trial events. And like we stated earlier, in the NFL, they were punishing football players for not kneeling or whatever. Or were they kneeling?
They were kneeling.
Oh, yeah. They were charging them or not charging them. They're
finding them, like...
They were finding them, too?
Yeah, they...
Oh, God.
For stuff like that. I don't know why.
Wow. So, yes, kudos to the Olympics. I don't watch the Olympics or the NFL or any type of, like, live sports. But if I were, the Olympics would definitely be, or even the Paralympics. But that would definitely be what I would probably tune into, just out of, like, a respect thing. Because, like, damn. At least somebody is doing it.
Right.
And it doesn't even seem like there was any reason why. Like, it wasn't an uproar. It wasn't because shit started trending again. It was just to do it. To be the first to do it as well. So, yeah. Shout out to the Olympics. And
kudos, man. Kudos.
Yeah, I'm just happy for that. It's taking a step into the right direction. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that's all we have for our intro topics today, and we're going to go ahead and jump into the main topic, which is Norse myth, Greek, wow.
That's why I stopped.
Norse myth, gods and goddesses.
All right, guys. The first god we have is Loki, and I know he may be popular with a lot of you. If you watch the Marvel Avengers series and go through that whole deal, you know how it goes.
Wait, but I don't. What if you haven't seen it?
That's why we're about to...
Oh, okay.
That's why we're about to explain it. So, you have Loki, son of a giant named Farboti and a woman named Alaufi. And interestingly enough, Loki's always considered to be Thor's brother in Marvel, but, like, in the mythology, he's more or less seen as Odin's, like, adoptive brother in a sense. So in a sense, he's Thor's uncle.
Weird family tree.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh, but I just want to take a moment to say that, like, we thought Greek mythology would be hard to pronounce these names. No, Norse mythology is some shit. So bear with us.
Yeah, be prepared for that.
Because we're going to fuck up a lot.
Yeah, a lot of things are going to be misspoken and mispronounced.
Go ahead.
He is a trickster god, but he is also considered the god of fire, which is interesting. Because
that's really cool.
Like I said earlier, Norse mythology is a little bit different because...
different meanings.
Yeah, they're not necessarily linked to, like, a certain thing, like how Zeus is, god of the sky, or, like...
correction, some of them are, though.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely, some of them are, but they're usually, like, whatever their worst and best traits are, amplified, in a sense. Like, take Loki, for instance. He's a god of mischief, and, like, he causes a lot of trouble, like, for the Norse gods and this and that.
Right.
So that would be...
and having fire and being that type of god, that's an interesting little mix.
Yeah, so that's why...
I feel like that would be you if you were a god.
I mean, I'm into it.
Just because you're fucking pyro.
I'm into it, but let's not talk about my issue. So, he is usually depicted in Norse mythology as having red hair, green eyes, a long thin face, and a weaselly look to him. So he looks like one of those type of guys that just be doing stuff.
You know, the way you just described that, aside from like the red hair and like the eyes being green, damn, that's like half the description. But he just kind of reminds me of Jafar from Aladdin.
Ew.
Right?
Ew.
Yeah.
He also has a wife. Her name is Sijin, which I don't know like what she does. It never said anything about what exactly she does, but that's his wife. And so he ended up having a lot of children with this lady. But the main ones that most people know are the World Serpent or the Midgard Serpent, Hel, and then there's Valley and Nari, which are his two sons, I believe. And then Hel and I don't know if the Midgard Serpent is like male or female, but
non-binary.
We'll just go with that. And also a little interesting fact about Loki: he is a bisexual shapeshifter.
That's kind of kinky.
Yeah, so it gets real good. So he so he's fathered and mothered because he changes his sex also.
Right.
So he's fathered and mothered various mythical beings, which even in his story, there's a pivotal character that he's birthed in a sense. Well, in one of his stories. So yeah.
How many stories did you do?
I did one for him. Just yeah. So we're gonna look at Loki and Odin's horse Sleipnir. If anyone's familiar with Sleipnir, he's Odin's token horse, and he has 8 legs for some reason.
Ooh, I bet he be moving. 8 legs. I would bet my money on him.
Yeah, exactly.
I want
that one.
50,000 on Schnoogard.
That's a Sleipnir.
I want 50,000 on Sleipnir.
It's a pretty cool name though for a horse.
Because they slept on him, but not Nermer.
Oh, just wait till you hear how he came to be. Like,
okay, go ahead.
So the Aesir gods, which are comprised of Odin, Frigga, Thor, and other non-names, they end up having a fight with the Vanir gods, which are like.
Wait.
What?
Thor, as in like Marvel Thor?
Yeah, Thor.
Wait, Thor is from Norse mythology?
Yes.
I'm sorry, y'all. I just.
Where?
I did not know that.
You just thought he was a Marvel character? You thought Marvel.
I thought they just created him. I thought they were just real creative.
Yeah, no, they not that creative. They are, but not
that creative.
Yeah.
Damn. Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't shun me in the comments, guys, please.
I tried, guys. I swear I did. Anyway.
Whew, okay. Just to be clear, I did not watch Avengers Endgame or. It's that one, right? With Thanos?
Yeah.
Thanos?
Yeah.
That's one. I ain't watching y'all, so bear with me.
But Thor, you know what? Anyway. The Aesir gods, Odin, Frigga, Thor, and etc., they fought with the Vanir gods, which are Freya, Freyr, and Nerthus, other gods that we don't really talk about much. Mm-hmm. And this destroyed Asgard's walls. So they were trying to figure out how they were going to rebuild the wall. So one day, a mysterious horseman offered to rebuild the wall within 6 months in exchange for the sun, moon, and the beautiful Freya as his wife.
Why Freya? Is she like kind of the Aphrodite of
she's
Norse?
She's in a sense like the Aphrodite of the Norse
most
mythology.
Beautiful being.
Yeah, she's also
the deity of beauty.
She's also Balder's mom. So yeah, that's gonna come into play later when we get into that.
Interesting. Okay.
So Loki reminds the guys that the task is practically impossible because it's a giant wall. Like, how are you gonna build that in 6 months? And so
aliens
could be. So they ended up issuing the challenge, but the horseman showed a surprising set of skill that would make his task very achievable, which scared them and made them pretty mad. So, as always, they threatened to kill Loki if the task was completed. Yeah, Loki gets threatened a lot. In Norse mythology.
Understandably, though. Understandably why.
Yeah, he gets in a lot of trouble.
Wow, this makes some sense. Okay,
Yeah.
later.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Loki took it upon himself to distract the horseman's horse by shifting into a mare and seducing said horse.
Which is the female horse. Right?
Yeah, a mare is a female
so he
horse.
was
Yeah, he was throwing that horse
putting
ass
that
back.
thing on him.
He was throwing horse ass.
Damn, straight
That's
like
crazy. That's disgusting. The man couldn't complete his task without
that. Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, this man.
Is that still? I don't even want to get into
No,
it.
go ahead.
Is that still like considered bestiality?
Yes and no.
Because, you know.
Yeah, it's gross.
Like, you're still a human.
It's a gross visual.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I don't even want to keep
The
going.
man couldn't complete his task without the horse, which angered him, and this caused him to show his true form, which he was a frost giant from Jotunheim. Which, interestingly enough, Loki is half giant because his father is a giant from Jotunheim, and his mother is just a woman.
Everybody's a giant in Norse mythology. Giants are really popular.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So Thor smashed this giant's head with Mjolnir, his hammer, and Loki ended up giving birth to an 8-legged colt horse, which he gifted to Odin, which is now
For what?
Just cause, which is now Sleipnir.
Oh, okay. So that's how Sleipnir came to be.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Pretty gross.
That is kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And Thor, the not so Marvel character.
Yeah, I don't even remember how he ended up getting introduced. Oh, actually, yes, I do. I do remember how he got introduced to the Marvel Universe.
Oh.
So, he got banished from Asgard for some reason. I forgot.
Being bad.
Probably. And then he ended up meeting Cap and all the rest of everybody, and then just took off from there.
Okay, Thor, okay, I see.
Came down to Earth and started doing big things.
Right, literally. Okay, so the next god / goddess, well, this one's a goddess, is Skadi. And
Skadi.
I know, her name, well, it's spelled weird. So, like, Norse mythology, they use, like, those weird letters. I don't know what it's called. They're called what?
They're called runes.
Runes?
Mm-hmm.
They use runes. And so Skadi is actually spelled like SKAO
It's kind of cool.
with the 2 dots and an I.
It's kind of cool.
It is cool, but it's pronounced Skadi. So, yes. Skadi was depicted as a Jotun or Jotun. A Jotun?
Jotun.
Jotun?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. See, I don't know any of this. Norse mythology is all new to me, guys.
So, here's an interesting fact. You know the name Jacob? It's pronounced Jakob, which is also kind of like deriving from Norse. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay, interesting fact. Learn something new every day.
Mm.
So, Skadi was depicted as a Jotun, right?
Jotun.
A Jotun, which is a dwarf or an elf, so she was really tiny.
Oh, cute.
Right, but she was also a goddess, so tiny but mighty, okay?
Tinkerbell style.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So she was associated with bow hunting, skiing, winter, and mountains. These are all beautiful things that I love. Yeah, pretty much.
Hunting?
But skiing, winter, and mountains,
Yeah.
I love it. Like, as soon as I read that, when I was doing my research, I was like, wow, she's awesome. Like,
she is pretty cool. Like,
it is really cool.
Too much research.
And I don't even think there is a god or a goddess that represents like the winter and mountains in Greek mythology, is there? There probably is, but I haven't heard of it.
The thing about this, like, whenever they do categorize these different gods and goddesses and give them their like little characteristics, they don't always mention everything. So there might.
I know that's why I'm like, who knows?
There might be one. So,
but Norse mythology does have a goddess representing this, and I think that's really cool because I love the mountains. I've never been skiing, but I've always wanted to go. And bow hunting's pretty cool.
I suck at it, but it looks.
It reminds me of Vikings.
Well, yeah, that's
just very popular, like bow hunting. I know. So she was the daughter of Pazi.
I don't know.
It's Pjazi. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
so she was the daughter of Pazi. And Pazi was killed. So Skadi married The god Norver or Njorver, I'm not too sure.
Norver?
I think it's, I don't know.
I
Norver,
don't know.
who is the god of the sea. So he's kind of like the Poseidon of Norse mythology, yes.
He's a badass.
I know. She did this as compensation for the gods killing her father.
Oh, that's interesting. Why?
Because, excuse me, her father was killed, and she didn't know who the killer was, but nobody wanted to, like, fess up, even though there were people that, like, knew.
Trash.
Yeah, so she wanted the god Najor or whatever as compensation for the gods killing, because none of the gods wanted to come forward. So for the gods killing her father, she wanted to pick the guy of her choice.
This
pretty
whole
much.
marriage thing seems to be like it's a lot of let me pick who
Animosity and stuff.
Let me
Yeah.
pick who the fuck I want to marry.
I can't remember why she wanted him specifically. I think just because she thought they would mesh well together, since he's pertaining to water and she's like ice and
which makes
snow.
sense to me. Yeah, I get it. Like why you would want to.
You know, she thought that it would be a good match. So she was described as having split up with Najor because he wanted to live by the sea and she preferred the mountains.
Oh.
So they didn't see eye to eye because of this. You know, she was just more comfortable in her element, literally.
Which is fine.
And he was comfortable in his element, literally. And so they just couldn't really find, like, a common ground. So they kind of just went their separate ways.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, you know?
It does, yeah.
Cordially,
even in Norse mythology.
Yeah.
So, in other tellings, after leaving Najor, she married Odin.
Oh, God.
The one with the magical horse.
The one with one eye.
Yes, that too. And she bore him, like, a whole bunch of sons.
Yeah,
so they had, like, a lot of kids.
They be popping them out like poppy seeds.
Yeah, and most of, I don't know, like, having litters at a time. But yeah, I don't think they had any daughters. I think they were all boys. Through history, many different works of art were inspired by Skadi.
Oh, that's kind of cool, though.
I don't know specifically, like, what works of art were inspired by her, or, like, her story, but yeah, there are works of art out there inspired by her.
When you're married,
which I'm sure narrows it down to, like, mountainous and, like, landscape type of art. Yeah.
I mean, when you marry the Allfather and you have, like, 1,000 kids, like...
Right. Well, I don't even know how many they had, but I'm sure they had a few.
That's a many sons. I'm just going to go with, like, 12.
And I couldn't find an origin story that was, like, pertaining to Skadi or that, like, involved her. So... yeah, if you guys want to do your own research and kind of, like, dive deeper and try to find, like, an origin story that actually includes Skadi, then you can go ahead and drop a link to that below in some comments.
Intrigue us like we intrigue you.
Yeah, definitely. We are, like, on our personal Instagrams and also our podcast Instagram, so even if you wanted to, like, tag us in it, like, for a comment or something, like, we personally see it. You can DM us. You can email us, like, we have the access to all of those things, so we'll be the first ones to see it.
So feel free, please.
And the last.
Please, feel free.
Yeah, it's a safe space. So, aside from that, we want to take a quick break to go ahead and thank our sponsor, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free and it's easy to use.
There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone or computer, making it the best user experience around.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, making it so you don't have to upload to each individual platform.
And the best thing about it, you can make money straight from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
So please, download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. And that's anchor.fm, spelled ANCHOR.FM.
So what are you doing? Download the free Anchor app now.
And here we are, guys, with another Norse god. And this one is kind of like the Jesus of Norse mythology. His name is Baldur, and he is the most loved out of all the gods.
Oh, understandable then.
Mm-hmm. He's the son of the Allfather Odin and his wife Frigg. And like I mentioned, he was loved by all things and every last one of the gods. So literally, this man can do no wrong in the eyes of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's said to be the god of joy, purity, and the summer sun, which makes sense because of who his parents are.
Mm-hmm.
So his appearance.
What does Frigg represent?
His mother's actually Freya, and that was a typo on my end. His mother's actually Freya, which is the goddess of joy and light and all that cool stuff.
And then Odin.
Yeah, I ended up just like putting Frigg because I was thinking.
Okay, so what's Odin though?
Odin is the Allfather. He's like the god of everything.
Okay. Oh, kind of like Zeus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his appearance, he is considered tall and handsome with long hair and a thick beard. He has a muscular build, and he's usually depicted with a spear pointed down and a shield standing on the ground to show that he's not a violent being. Yeah. So with Balder, most things surrounding him always go back to his death. Like he doesn't necessarily have his own like tale.
Story. It's interesting that you say that because the next goddess that we're gonna jump into, her story involves Balder.
Oh, cool.
So,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. So his story begins with him having nightmares of his apocalyptic death, which
that sounds scary. That sounds like me every night. Like what the hell?
Wait a minute. What? Okay.
Like for real? Do you not like dream sometimes of like an apocalyptic death?
No, I've never had that.
Like, really?
Yeah, no, I've never.
Well, I love like post-apocalyptic shows, movies, zombies.
I mean,
anything
too,
of that
like, I've
nature.
Never had a dream where.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't either, but I was just saying it as a joke.
It is scary, though.
But it would be interesting.
Yeah.
I really just want to I just want a zombie apocalypse to break out for real.
CDC.
Just to see, like, don't try to come for me. I just want to see what the world would come to, okay? That's it. That's all. Then we can just press reset, rewind.
Rewind? At that point, I don't even
I just want to see. I love The Walking Dead, and I feel like it would probably actually be like The Walking Dead.
Motherfuckers wouldn't make it.
I'm gonna be out here slanging my katana.
So, Balder ended up telling Odin about his nightmares, and Odin freaked out and told Frigg. So Frigg was like, you know what, how about this? We're going to find a way to make sure that doesn't happen.
All right.
So she made sure that everyone and everything would swear never to hurt Balder.
Ooh.
And this...
Didn't happen.
Well, I mean, it did to a certain extent. Because he was invincible, except for one thing. And nobody knew what it was. Because you just assumed that she'd gotten everything. So... Loki caught wind of this while everybody was having their fun throwing shit at Balder because they would throw stuff at him just for fun. He wouldn't
because nothing would happen to him.
Because he just...
Oh my god, he was like Bella off of Twilight.
Yeah, he's just like a punching bag.
No, you know how she had like that fucking power where she was like a human shield?
Ah, yeah.
Like that. He was fucking Bella from Twilight.
I mean, he wasn't fucking her, but he was...
Thank you guys for tuning in for episode 7. Go ahead.
So, Loki being the guy that he is, he hated that Balder was getting so much attention. Of course, he did.
Right.
Loki's like the drama...
Mischievous ass Loki.
He's such a drama queen.
Right.
So, this made him disguise himself as Frigg's, one of her best friends, actually, to get her to tell him, like, is there anything that could hurt Balder?
Right, and if so, what the
And so she slipped up and was like, yeah, everything except, mistletoe, because it's practically harmless. And, Loki...
That is so weird, though. Why mistletoe?
Yeah, I don't know why she just didn't include that.
I know, but, like, of all things, why would mistletoe be it?
Yeah, so it gets crazy because Loki said, all right, cool, I'm going to just create a little arrow, and while everybody's having...
And shoot him with the mistletoe? What is up with these...
While everybody's having their fun. So it gets deeper because there's one guy that was blind, his name was Hod. So he didn't partake into this because, he couldn't see, so he was like, there's no point, and whoop. So Loki
Alright, I'm gonna miss anyway.
Loki was like, come on, dude, like, I'm not gonna have you miss out on all the fun, and he
just fucking
so he guides Hyde, gives him a bow and arrow, and mind you, Hyde is super strong. So what he does, he guides Hyde, and Hyde ends up shooting the arrow. Everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time. So Hyde shoots the arrow, and it goes right through Boulder's chest. And so he's thinking, okay, yeah, I finally participated, had the fun, but everybody got quiet, and they were like, and he was freaking out because he didn't know. He was like, well, why is everybody quiet or whatever? Like, I thought this was all fun.
Right.
And lo and behold, Boulder is dead. Yeah, so.
Wow, okay. Well, I'm glad that you set that up before this next goddess because, yeah, her story is pertaining to Balder, and I didn't even go into much detail on how Balder died, so that's kind of awesome that you went into his death story because I didn't. So the next goddess that we're going to jump into is Hel, the goddess of the underworld, and she also represents death. So,
hello, Hades.
Yes. So she's pretty much the Norse Hades of mythology, but it's a woman, so that's fun. Cool, yeah. So she was, interesting enough, one of Loki's children, as you stated earlier. Her kingdom was said to lie downward and northward.
I have no clue what that means.
I don't either, but
don't even try. We can't even. You can't even put that in the. You can't.
Because I'm trying to think like it's down, but it's like
it's up.
and it's up. And it's up. Nah, but yeah. So downward and northward. Take with that information what you will, because I don't know what was being implied by that, but I thought I would include it because maybe somebody can help me out. I don't know. Her kingdom was also referred to as Hel or Niflheim. And Niflheim or Hel is also meaning the world of darkness. Yeah. I just love this. I love it so much. My inner I am a Scorpio, but the inner Scorpio, it's just loving this. Okay. The world of darkness was divided into several sections, so yeah, it was just split up. Kind of
like the way that Greek mythology does it too.
Oh, is it split up in Greek mythology as well?
Sort of, kind of, but not as extensive as this.
Oh, okay. So one of those sections was called Nastrond, which was known as the shore of corpses. Okay,
so kind of like the river Styx in a sense.
Yes. So it's very similar. Just different words, really.
Hard words.
Yes. In Nastrond stood a castle, and this castle was facing north, towards the shore, I believe.
Yeah.
I think. The castle was full of venom of serpents, so the whole castle was just full of venom.
Ew, scary.
Yeah, very scary. Of various snakes. So,
yeah. Oh, that's kind of
super dangerous.
Oh, that's really interesting because just go on. We'll get there.
Go ahead.
No, we'll get there because I don't want to say it out of succession.
Okay. Murderers, adulterers, and perjurers suffered torment in this castle where the venom was. So, yeah, it was a place where the bad guys go, damn, we need a place like that for real, now. But, for the pedos.
Yeah, send them to Alcatraz.
And the rapists.
Send them to Alcatraz.
Send them to Nastrond Castle. Send them to hell, goddamn. While being tormented, there's a dragon that lives in the castle. So while murderers and other various criminals and bad people were being tormented, the dragon Needhog sucked blood from their bodies simultaneously as they're being poisoned.
Ew, just imagine how that.
It was like hell, probably. So, the description of Hel, Hel as in the goddess, not her realm. She was described as half blue / half flesh colored, or she was depicted as black and white, so yin and yang, good and bad, I guess. She had a gloomy, downcast appearance, which kind of just makes her sound creepy. Like,
And she literally reminds
thinking
me
of a goddess, you would think, like, undoubtedly they would be kind of like beautiful, I guess you could say, because most are portrayed as beauties and, you know, just attractive women. So the fact that she distinctly has a gloomy downcast appearance is very telling to her job. Like,
she gets it done.
She gets it done, but it probably wears her the fuck down. Because what? Like, damn.
Right. Another one? Like,
today, this is the 5th one today.
Y'all niggas can't stay alive up there? What are y'all doing?
Take him to the pits.
Just drag him in there. Fuck it.
Her name, meaning hidden, correlates to the dead because the dead are often hidden or buried underground. So it correlates. That's another reason why she represents death, is because when you die, typically buried, which is underground, and you're hidden from sight. So, yeah. Her family was also considered very dangerous, with her being the sister of Fenrir, who was a wolf, and Jornagand, which is a serpent, and I believe that's the serpent that you...
That's probably the world serpent thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, is the one that you had previously stated.
Interestingly enough, Fenrir is the one...
Go ahead.
See, if you're familiar with Norse mythology, you understand about Ragnarok and how Fenrir is supposed to be the one that's going to kill Odin, and how the world serpent is the one that's going to kill Thor, so...
And the world serpent and Fenrir are both siblings to Hel.
Right.
So, yeah.
Children.
And once they meet their fate, they'll probably end up in her hands. Okay, so the beloved god Baldur was slain by Loki, which is Hel's father.
Of course, Loki has something to do with it.
Yeah. And we know why and how. Yeah, and Loki is Hel's father, so they are connected. So keep that in mind. The gods sent an emissary, and an emissary is a person who is on a special mission. Doesn't matter what the mission is, they have one. And this emissary was named Hermod or Hermod. How did you say it? Hermod?
I would say it's Hermod.
Hermod. To Hel, and so, yeah, he went to Hel in hopes of retrieving Baldur because, like you said, everybody was devastated that Baldur died. Like, everybody loved him. So Hermod pleaded with Hel, explaining everything was in sorrow over the death of Baldur, which it damn sure was, because he was very important and very loved. Hel wouldn't give in easy, though, and so she decided to challenge this guy, because who are you? Right. Why are you coming to my palace?
What do you want from me?
Begging me for stuff, yeah. So Hel would only conform if every last living being or thing wept for Baldur on Earth. So Hermod and other gods, not all the gods, but some gods, went around and got almost everything in the cosmos to weep, except one giantess, who was likely, guess who? Loki. In disguise with his shape-shifted ass.
He be getting shit done.
Yes. So, you know, they got everybody to basically like be sad about Baldur's death except for one giantess. And I mean, it probably was damn Loki in disguise. Who else would it be? So, since the attempt had failed because of this one giantess, Loki, Hel kept Baldur in her cold grasp forever. So it is kind of interesting because, like I said, keep in mind, like, Loki was her dad, so I'm sure she was probably like, well, you know, they just want I'm not feeling it today. Like, next, you know.
The interesting thing about
Dad, take care of this.
The interesting thing about it is they did end up catching Loki for doing this, and I think he got what he deserved.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he ended up being tortured.
But nobody could get Hel.
Right.
I wonder if he's down there chilling with his daughter.
Nah, he ended up getting tortured. Like, they,
Oh.
Yeah, they had a serpent that we mentioned earlier, dripping venom in his eyes, and his wife was trying to clean it out, but every time she would, it would just get worse.
Well, yeah, because you're, like, spreading it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's not fun.
And he was, like, tied to the rock with his children, like, 2 of his sons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. He was getting ripped apart and everything.
No bueno.
Yes, that's what happens when you're an ass.
Yeah, don't be an ass, guys. Not fun for anybody.
No one.
So, we have only a couple of ending questions for today. I might have another one, but I'm not too sure. So we have 2 ending questions for today. And the first one is, who is your favorite Norse god or goddess? And honestly, although I couldn't find a story on her, I think Skadi is my favorite goddess just because she's cool. Like,
I feel that.
She represents a lot of things that I enjoy. And yeah, and the way she's represented is really cool as well. Like, if you were to go look up pictures of Skadi, she's very cool, breezy ass chick. Okay.
For me personally, as much as like people tend to dislike him, I like Loki, and for the simple reason that he just be mixing shit up. Like,
he just does what he does, and he don't be giving a damn. And he's like unapologetic about it.
It's so funny because like most of the times his shit don't work out. And he just still keeps going right back and doing it. Like one story specifically, he ended up cutting Thor's wife. He cut her hair bald. Like he shaved her head. And so Thor found this out because Thor's a little dumb in Norse mythology apparently. And so he was like, damn.
He's just a strong, dumb man.
Yeah. Damn. And so the thing is, like, he ended up cutting her hair off. So Thor wakes up and sees that shit. And he's like, whoa, who the fuck are you? Like,
oh, God.
And so then he thinks
just
about
be out here pranking folks.
Right. He just be doing shit.
Interesting.
So, yeah, just be living life. Doing stupid shit. And getting in trouble for it.
Mm-hmm. You know who that reminds me of?
What's that?
What's his name? Off of Death Note.
We talking about the demon, or we talking about...
No.
You're talking about Light, then?
Yes.
The one that has the Death Note?
No, I'm talking about the dude. The mysterious dude. L.
Oh, you're talking about L.
Yes, that reminds me of L. Loki reminds me of L off of Death Note. Because he's just so mysterious. And, like, people never really know. People don't really know, like, if it's really him. Like, in Death Note, nobody really knows who L is unless you know who L is. Same thing with Loki. Loki could be anybody, anywhere, anything, at any time, and nobody would know. He's just mysterious.
Since he is Light, he's Kira then, because again, nobody knows who he is, and he just be doing shit, mixing shit up.
Who?
Kira, Light, which is the guy that has the Death Note.
No, I'm just saying he's like the other dude that's against the demon.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying in that same retrospect, he's also like Kira.
I mean, yeah, I guess Kira is pretty mysterious too. But not really. Like, he's just a regular-ass kid.
No, that's the whole mystery. That's why he's so mysterious, because they still trying to figure out who the fuck he is that they don't know. Because he's just running around with this Death Note, just offing people. And
that's true. All the, like, people in the world are trying to figure out who he is. Yeah. And L. Damn. Yeah, you're right. Okay, well, still, it could be either one. Yeah. We're getting hella off topic. So, what myth origin would you like us to cover next?
Throw them at us.
Yeah, we're kind of undecided. We're probably going to do Celtic, or I don't know what one you wanted to do next.
I don't even remember.
We have like Celtic up next, or like Egyptian, or Roman, or really anything. We'll probably do another poll so you guys can pick
for sure
the next one, which will be dropping next month. So yeah. Oh, and then one more question that I kind of just wanted to add in is, do you think that George Floyd has received proper justice for his murder? I think no, personally. And I don't think he ever will, just because of how sensitive his case was and how public it was, and just how much disrespect alone, like, just for his case was put on him, like the victim. I don't think he'll ever get proper justice.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can say that
same thing with Breonna Taylor.
Yeah,
the victims are always shed in a dim light of being an actual perpetrator instead of the victim in a case, and I just don't agree with that. Like, it doesn't matter if he was on drugs, it doesn't matter if he wasn't complying right away, it doesn't matter, because the same thing were to happen to somebody who was not a minority, it wouldn't have mattered if they were shooting at the cops. Like, the cops would probably not use the same excessive force that was used on George.
They don't.
Or any other black person for that matter.
Will. They don't, and they never will.
Yeah, and so, honestly, I personally don't think he got the justice that he deserved. What do you guys think on that? Also, what do you guys think about the Olympics?
Yeah,
and this whole,
throw that out there.
You know, like cool supporting Black Lives Matter.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really do think that that's a good first step in the right direction.
Definitely.
We have a long ways to go, and just allowing people to put their fist up and demonstrate, you know, like at the Olympics, it's great, it's amazing, and I'm so happy, which is why we included it. But it's not where we need to be. It's not anywhere near where we need to be in the future. We have a long ways to go.
And like you said, we're taking the right steps, but I would hope that in those same steps, we don't take 2 steps backward.
Right.
Because, you can take the right steps in the right direction all you want, but if there are those certain people that just happen to be on the other end of things, it just becomes a stalemate at that point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It becomes oversaturated, and it's not really genuine anymore. It's just like all this trending shit. Like, everybody wants to put shit out when it's trending, but not when it matters. If that makes sense. Like, shit always matters. So you should always talk about it. You shouldn't just praise or acknowledge something because everybody else is.
Right.
And that's my TED Talk for today, guys. I've been your host, Sass. Like, I'm playing. So do you have any other ending questions? I kind of like how we kind of like end the video winding down with like questions and stuff. Yeah, also, definitely. Did you receive any questions from like any of our viewers or our listeners? Because I have not.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten too much of anything, really.
I did get one. I saw a comment under one of our Instagram posts from somebody that checked out the podcast, and they were asking both of us what is our favorite part of like producing and hosting the podcast, and
that's a great
kind
question.
of like what keeps us like motivated in posting and like doing the podcast, like what makes it worth it for us. So I'll go and let you answer first if you'd like.
Well, for me, it's a really big thing for me, like being a passionate person and doing things you like and things you love. It becomes fun for me. Like, it's just fun for me to do. Yeah. Like, I would never consider this like a job or too much or anything like that, because I just enjoy getting the content out there and having these conversations. And, you know, being black in America, being a black man in America, things are hard. And this is where being a black man is easy for me, like having the conversation and enjoying. So there's my answer. Yeah,
I agree. I think my favorite thing about producing and hosting this podcast is just being able to talk about things that I enjoy, like you, and I'm very passionate about. But not only being able to talk about it with you, but I think being able to share our opinions and our thoughts on certain topics with you guys is what's really important with us. And also, like, we say it in every episode, but like, we do want to hear you guys' feedback, and we would love for you guys to reach out and comment under our post, DM us, email us, like, blow us up. You know, you can annoy us, bother us. I don't care. Because that's what we do it for. We do it to have the chance to interact with you guys. And also, if you do listen to the podcast on Anchor has a section where you can record like audio yourself as a listener and send it in to us through Anchor. So that way we can automatically upload it or like attach it to our next episode. So if you guys ever have questions or like advice or suggestions on topics or episodes, you can always send in video clips or audio clips. You can always send in audio clips and we can review them and put them in future episodes. So yeah, I really do just enjoy being able to do what we already do in our free time. But allowing you guys to join in on the conversation, because we're going to have the conversations regardless. We love talking about the not so normal, and that's just that. Like, that's just us. So, yeah. And I also like the fact that whenever we do, like, come and sit down to film or record, like, it's just us in this moment. It's not being on our phones. It's not watching TV. It's not being surrounded by a whole bunch of people. Like, it's just you and I literally sitting down, unplugging, and like talking. Yeah, just talking. Like, you know, having that allotted like hour or, you know, whatever, to just sit down and have a conversation. Moment. Yeah, I love it. Like, I love it so much, and I honestly feel like it's brought us closer together as well. Like, we're already close as is, but I think this is kind of like another layer of like something that we both enjoy and we're both passionate about, and something that we love that we can share with others. Like, hell yeah, because we don't have any pets, don't have any kids, don't plan on it, so this is what we got. This is our baby, and we love it. And we hope that you guys do too. So.
And we love you. Yes. And I've been your host, DJ.
And I've been your host, Sav.
So, Cosmonites, please tune in next week to get
deeper than most.